it's wild to think that it's been almost a decade since we first got together, and how we were different in that we didn't start out with this grand vision of we want to be this one day, but we all grew up fans of music. We all grew up playing music, and I think a lesson we learned pretty early. I don't know if it was from our families or from our churches or exactly wherever it came from, but it's a thing we've held on to this day. And when we meet with younger artists or students at a show, or anybody who's wanting to play music and says, "Man, will you listen to this song?" or "Here's a CD I made, and I made some copies of it tonight for you." The things we all sort of did in our younger days, all the time, of putting music on tapes or on CDs or emailing folks as we got older.
You guys go as far back as tapes?
I do. Maybe not Jordan, but I do.
The first music I bought was on a tape.
Yeah.
My first recording, I could only record to like little cassette tapes.
There you go.
So, lots of tapes.
Nice.
Yeah. If you found the tapes I could sing every word of a Snoop Dogg song that I recorded into a microphone on a tape deck, just so we're clear, and did that. But so it's fun. It's I don't know, the fact that we get music from people at our shows that will say, "Hey, can you listen to this?" And I want to be a songwriter. I want to be an artist. The thing that we learned when we were young that stayed true for us even now, and we hold tightly to, is that whole idea of be faithful where you are. I think I think Jesus taught us. He said it best when he said, "Tomorrow has enough worries for itself." If you can be present in today, that's where we find God at. We don't find him in tomorrow or yesterday. We find him here with us today. And I think when we're talking about music and anything we love and aspire to, it's like, be faithful right where you are today. Work your tail off. Become a professional right there in front of 10 people, and don't wait for 1,000 people to be there, or keep writing your songs. Wake up every day and write a song that you need to write and you need to sing, instead of thinking, one day I want to be this. Have the work ethic, and if it's 5 people at your youth group, like it was for me when I was in high school, or 25 of my friends that I led worship for in high school, before I played an instrument and I was a big nerd and just held a mic with 2 hands, my youth minister embedded in me, like, be faithful right here. Don't think beyond the people you're right in front of and the place you're right in front of. And so that's what we try to tell people, and what we try to abide by still to this day, because there's always a bigger place. There's always a tomorrow. There's always, well, man, we're not doing that yet. Man, we could do that. And that's where you get lost. I think you lose what's true in yourself if you start doing that. We try to keep each other accountable to say, let's stay right here, wherever we are, wherever God's put us. Let's be faithful in that.
Yeah, that's so good. Like, well done.
Please include that.
No, I think, well, we were just talking about it today on the drive down. It's easy to get caught up in this, like, if we're trying to write a song, or, we've got an idea, to seek validation that the song is worthy enough to continue chasing, or someone's going to like it, and all of that. And I think what we're finding more and more of, just going, some point, obviously you want the label or you want somebody to like it, but I just want to finish that song, like, because I feel like I need to write that song. And if that means the 4 of us write it and no one else ever hears it, then I'm okay with that. Like, what I used to do is I wanted to try to make something as best as I could before I ever let anybody let them into like my world. And then I was presenting them with what I thought was my absolute best, and if they didn't feel that way, what did I do in that moment? Like I didn't. Sometimes I would be hurt. Sometimes I'd just say, "You're wrong," or whatever. And it's like, now, man, this is my best for the moment. I'm going to take pride and ownership in that. And then we can just continue to build off of that. And if it's, just from a songwriting perspective, if we're not going to build off of it, then I still want to finish that thought and say, Like, I worked hard enough to chase it, finish it, and now I'm ready to move on to the next thing. But just try to put in that work ethic of just, not leaving 60 like half-written songs, but saying, if I can finish these songs, surely, like if nothing else, it's just making me a little bit more seasoned, like you said, of like just putting in the work ethic, and I think it's easy to lose sight of that, but I know all of us have really tried to stretch ourselves, and I mean, this is our third record now, and you find over the course of recording and writing, like you begin to identify who you are as an artist more, and then just enjoying being that artist and not trying to be anyone else or what you think someone else is, as Justin was saying. I love the picture that my wife paints for me sometimes of, we go out and, if we're playing to a couple hundred people a night, like, I mean, that's a really good crowd for us, and she kind of reminds me of like, hey, those people have a chance to connect with you in a way that fans or a listener can't connect to people that are on a bigger stage than that. So make sure you don't miss out on those opportunities. And so I think there's value in that, and if a bigger stage, a bigger audience comes, that's awesome. But I don't want to worry about if we're only playing to 50 people. Like, well, let me connect with those 50 people that night.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it. So that album came out in September, right?
October. Yeah.
October. And so now it's just it's sort of letting those songs out. I think we give yourself a little bit of a break, maybe mentally, even emotionally, spiritually, of everything you pour out into work like that and all those songs. And now already, like when we started playing them on our fall tour, Christmas tour, you start to see the songs even take in a different shape now. And I think you learn some new things about those songs that you put out, because we write them, we record them. Oftentimes, it's not as if we wrote them 2 years ago and spent 2 years crafting it all the time. Not that way with every song for sure. And so now we're kind of, I think, relearning the songs a little bit, playing them live, and then seeing how they're connecting with people. And to us, we love the studio, and like we love that work and pouring out of that. But we love getting on a stage and playing these songs, sharing our hearts with people, and seeing what God does with them in those places. So that's what the next season for us is now. And we're working on new songs already. We're back at it and things like that. And we'll see what comes of those, and hopefully release new music this year and stuff. But you never know. And we're just, you just sort of constantly, we've been home a lot. So you here after Christmas and everything. So you just continue to write, and then we'll hit the road pretty hard this spring.
Yeah, we hit the road pretty hard right when the record came out.
Yeah,
all the way through the end of Christmas, and so now, like, we got to live with the release of the record while we were on the road, and had a tour to support the record, and then now you just kind of get to take that that breath of fresh air, and there's some new creative juices that are things that you've been able to digest, of like, hey, maybe I want to write at least try to write about that, and so we got a couple months where it's way more downtime of preparing, writing and all of that, because, once March, April hits, then we're picking back up on the road again. And we try to write on the road, and it's certainly getting, the tools to write on the road is becoming way easier to do it. But
you can record a whole album on the back of a bus now.
It's true. It happens all the time, but now it's really just kind of family time, and just dive in and try to be as creative as 4 different individuals at home, and sending a ton of voice memos and, just partial verse tracks, just like, hey, I came up with this, and so it's good. It's good right now.
Mm-hmm. First of all, we love you. I'm just kidding.
It's true.
So yeah, you can go to our website, carrolltonband.com, and you can connect with a link there that will connect you to our booking agency, Greg Oliver Agency, GOA, and they're awesome. They're great people. They'd get in contact with you. Or you can email us directly. We get people that would contact us on Facebook or email us, and through that, we answer all those ourselves and respond as quickly as 4 dudes with a lot of kids can. And but we go anywhere and everywhere. We love getting to meet new people, and so yeah, please contact us. For me, I went through a time period where Snoop was some kind of influence on me. I don't know, but
That'll be in the next interview.
that's exactly right. I grew up. I mean, it was a little bit of everything. Music wasn't like a huge part of our home, but I can remember my dad always listening to classic rock growing up. And then I remember a distinct memory. I was just talking to my dad about it the other day. Like, one of my uncles lived with us for a little bit. He took me to elementary school, and he turned me on to James Taylor when I was in elementary school. I have memories of listening to James Taylor like that, and so that stuff became a big influence. The Temptations were a big in our family and in our house, and then country music was that for a time for me, Garth Brooks and that, and then Christian music became a big influence. When I was in high school, I listened to the radio every Sunday to 20 Countdown magazine, and that was what I did on Sunday afternoons. So Stephen Curtis Chapman and those guys were big influences on me, and Third Day and Jars of Clay back in it. I mean, it sort of spans a lot for me, and it's all different for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, I was raised strictly on Christian music. I didn't get introduced to any other music until I could drive a car and like hide the CD underneath the seat or something. But I mean, like from a Christian music, I mean, like Whiteheart, Rick Florian days were like a huge influence on me. Like other bands that kind of maybe not so popular in Christian music, like a band called Adam Again, I really loved. Gene Eugene and like what his just kind of brilliant, whacked out mind created. Like, it was just really cool. And I mean, there's a hardcore band called Living Sacrifice. Like, I mean, like they don't influence my playing, but like that was a part of my, like when I met my wife, she was really into like just, heavy hardcore music. And like, so that Living Sacrifice was like our common bond of like, that kind of musical style. And so, but I mean, Christian music was everywhere. CCR is still one of my, Creedence Clearwater Revival, still one of my favorite bands because of how simple they were. They could take one riff and play it for basically 3 minutes and just make one catchy song out of it. And and so when I had it playing at the house yesterday, and I just told my wife, I'm like, surely I can write something that simple. Like they didn't like. I need something catchy. I'm missing that part, but the simple part I've got. Yeah, I'm kind of all over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely Christian music for me was like both my parents are musicians. My mom plays piano, my dad plays saxophone, so there's always music going on in the house. But I mean, the first couple tapes I bought was like 7 Day Jesus and Bleach and Switchfoot. And then Switchfoot's remained one of my favorite bands. All through. So just stuff like that, I probably didn't start getting into anything that wasn't Christian until I was probably like 17 or something like that. So, and then like Jimmy World and Coldplay, so pretty tame stuff.